I struggle with mental health badly. Actually getting out and about is what it was a lot more difficult back then than it is now. I was struggling getting out, and I came to see what actually was here and the help that it could bring.
In reality, that means doing whatever is required on the ground to ensure that veterans and their families have the best life they possibly can have given the circumstances. And that can be as simple as, just trying to think about it, she says, simple as making sure that somebody can have or is able to get out of bed in the morning, right the way through to complex treatment that enables them to function properly.
From my experience, it looks like every passion that I once had, has started to dissolve, and they seclude themselves more and more, which then in turn makes it harder to then change that way back into a positive manner and actually getting them to do something. For instance, we have one veteran who will often say that they want to do something, but they have no passion in doing something. They used to have passion in hunting or fishing or gardening, and now they just don't seem to want to do anything. And that's because they've secluded themselves from one thing, and it's gradually then deteriorated the rest of their life, up until we can kind of bring them on board and slowly start and build the steps and rebuild them up.
I think before we started coming here, it was hard to get him to come to the shop. It was hard to get him to do a lot of things outside. Yet since coming here, it's not always like that. It's not always, you can go and do stuff, but we're seeing more good days than what we do bad days. And he knows that if he said to Nathan that he's going to help with the gardening, he'll make sure he keeps that. It doesn't matter how bad his mental health is, because he said he's going to help, it'll motivate him to actually get out and do it, because he'll not want to let Nathan down.
I think that it's really been helpful coming here to sort of learn how to accept support and talk about things that I would not have ever really talked about with people, and sort of like have that safe environment to just to have an environment where you can talk about things that make you feel vulnerable, I guess.
Signposting should be a four-lettered word in my view, because it does nothing but tick a box. You take no account of the person you're dealing with, you take no account of the appropriateness of the organisation you're sending them to. I mean, if that does happen, if we do a referral, we're really careful to ensure that we know the person that they're referring to, we know the type of organisation, it's fit for purpose. We don't send somebody away to be fixed, because we know that doesn't work. You can't learn something new and expect somebody to be able to go and translate that straight back into their life again. So that's why our sort of grassroots thing is so important, because how can somebody change or behave in isolation?
Being through so many different doctors and psychologists and everything in the past, everything's a timeline. You've got so many weeks and that's you, and then it's back to scratch. At least here, there's no deadline, there's no stop, there's no, it just carries on.
We often deal with and shine light into areas that make other people really uncomfortable. And part of that is because, there's a need. It's like, what do you do? Pretend it isn't there? No. And how can you when you're on street level? You can't pretend something isn't there.
They'll always try and go the extra mile. When they phone, they'll ask how, I said, we're fine. And they go, okay, we'll ask again, because we know you're lying. And they always seem to get that little, and as I say, they didn't need to do half the stuff that they've done, because initially they're here for, but as I said, they've helped me and they've helped the kids. which they've never needed to do, but they always do.
That's where our skill set comes in, is also, you know, we've got the supervision, we've got the clinical supervision. I mean, they have mandatory pastoral supervision. It's not optional. It's not because they're broken or anything like that. It's because it's you've got to. You can't deal with the stuff we deal with without doing stuff. You just can't.
It's been really, yeah, it's hard to talk about some things. Well, it's hard to talk about a lot of stuff really, but like it's a nice environment to be able to do that in, and I guess, yeah, it has, over the past couple of years I have changed a lot, like in my own journey of things, like medically and like in terms of you know, emotionally and things. So it's, yeah, it's been great to be able to share that and have a space to like come and check in with and stuff.
When people say to me, well, let's do more research, it's like expletive after expletive after expletive, because it's like we don't need to do research. It walks in through our door. And if it doesn't walk in through our door, it walks in through our telephone or through our website, or, you know, what do you think? These are abstract concepts. It's like, how could you possibly need to do more research? How could you possibly need to ask what veterans need? It's like, don't you know?
It's so difficult to try and explain that to somebody who's not had those perspectives on being as a person and had the life experiences that go along with serving. And it's really difficult to try and explain reality through a perspective with someone who's not had that. It's this, and it creates a sort of separation. It's important to be able to feel like you can share all of yourself with people, and yeah, I think this feels like the middle ground to, you know, having a space. It holds space for the military part of myself as well as the civilian part of myself.
I don't think that a lot of the general public see that some of these guys have gone out there because they felt like they've had no other chance in life. Some have gone out to serve and because they want to actually fight for the country. Everybody sees things in a different light. Everybody sees things in a different way. And the effects that certain scenes or certain things that are being witnessed can have on somebody is lost through translation sometimes, because they've heard that story before and it didn't affect that person, so why should it affect this person?
It didn't feel like a place that was for me necessarily, and especially for the fact that I was really allergic to the idea of asking for help with anything, for support of things. I've very much been of the mindset, especially from my military training, I guess, with things and my experience, it's like, just get on with stuff, you know, and you know, being used to that hierarchy of, you know, and the chain of command things, you just pass on the information that is relevant to whatever purpose, you know, it's for. And yeah, I think with that mindset, I didn't really, that sort of enforced the whole not wanting to explore, asking for help. Just wanted to crack on and get on with things myself. And I'm really glad that I did just pop in.
I'm really proud of what we've achieved. I'm really proud of the people we support, because they've got themselves through, okay, with a bit of help from us, and a really difficult time.
It's being able to get him out the house and be able to come do stuff with the family, which before he was struggling really a lot, and it just helps him a lot. He's been able to volunteer for stuff like basketball, football, rugby, everything. It's just helping him, and I just really like that he's getting the help that he really needs.
How does it make you feel that he's getting that support?
It makes me glad that he's being able to do stuff that he really wants to do, but he might find it difficult, but he'll still come out, make sure we're okay, and being able to help us with stuff that we might not be able to do.